Let me ask you something. You are standing in a high-end watch boutique, the kind with marble floors, low lighting, and a salesperson who is almost certainly wearing a suit that costs more than your rent. On the display in front of you sits a watch. It is gleaming, encrusted with diamonds from bezel to bracelet, and the price tag reads somewhere between $30,000 and $300,000. The salesperson tells you it is the pinnacle of luxury. They tell you it represents craftsmanship, exclusivity, and timeless elegance. They tell you it is an investment. They are lying to you. Not in the dramatic, villainous sense. No one is twirling a mustache behind the counter, but the story being sold alongside that diamond-covered watch is one of the most sophisticated and enduring financial illusions in the history of consumer culture. And today, we are going to break it apart piece by piece. Because once you understand how the diamond watch market actually works, you will never look at one the same way again. To understand why diamond watches are such an extraordinary scam, you first have to understand the two industries that collide inside them, watchmaking and diamonds, and why both of them are built on manufactured perception rather than intrinsic value. Start with the watch itself. A mechanical timepiece from a prestigious Swiss brand carries real value in a certain sense. It represents engineering, tradition, and in some cases, genuine horological innovation. A Patek Philippe perpetual calendar or an A. Lang & Sonnet Lange one is a complicated machine that takes thousands of hours to produce. There is a reasonable argument for why such a piece costs what it costs. The craftsmanship is verifiable. The movement inside can be inspected. The history of the manufacturer is documented and real. Now take that same watch and hand it over to a setter who glues and prongs hundreds of diamonds across every visible surface. What happens to the value? According to the brand, it skyrockets. According to reality, something far more complicated and deeply unflattering takes place. The moment diamonds are applied en masse to the exterior of a watch, several things happen simultaneously. The dial becomes difficult or impossible to read. The movement, the actual heart of the watch, is buried under stones and rendered invisible. The resale value, in almost every case, collapses dramatically relative to what you paid. And the diamonds themselves, which we will get to shortly, are worth a fraction of what the retailer charged you for them. What you are paying for, in the end, is the idea of the watch, the performance of wealth, the theater of luxury. And that is a very expensive ticket for a show that does not actually take place. Diamonds have one of the most remarkable marketing histories of any product in human existence. The phrase "a diamond is forever" was not born from geological truth or cultural tradition. It was invented in 1947 by the advertising agency N.W. Ayer on behalf of De Beers, which at the time controlled roughly 80 to 90% of the world's rough diamond supply. The campaign was an explicit attempt to halt the secondhand diamond market by convincing consumers that diamonds should never be resold. If people started selling their diamonds, the price floor would collapse, and the illusion of rarity would evaporate along with it. It worked spectacularly. For decades, Western culture absorbed the idea that diamonds were both rare and permanently valuable. Neither is entirely true. Diamonds are not particularly rare. They are the most common precious gemstone on Earth. The reason they appear scarce is because their supply has historically been controlled by a small number of powerful entities. When De Beers' monopoly began to loosen in the late 1990s and early 2000s, diamond prices did not behave like the prices of genuinely scarce commodities. They remained artificially elevated through continued market manipulation, stockpiling, and the ongoing cultural mythology that had been so carefully constructed over the previous half-century. More damaging to the diamond watch buyer is this specific truth. The diamonds used to encrust watches are not the stones from the top of the gem quality pyramid. They are not the flawless, well-cut solitaires that serious jewelry collectors pursue. They are, in the vast majority of cases, small, low-grade, commercially graded stones, sometimes referred to as Malay diamonds, selected primarily for uniformity of size rather than optical quality. They are set close together so that the cumulative sparkle creates an impression of brilliance that no individual stone could generate alone. The whole effect is a kind of visual trick, and you are paying a luxury premium for an optical illusion constructed from relatively ordinary raw materials. Here is where the financial reality of diamond watches becomes genuinely brutal. Let us talk about what happens when you try to sell one. The secondary market for diamond watches is, with very few exceptions, a disaster for sellers. This is not not a matter of timing or market cycles, it is structural. Several forces converge to ensure that the person who paid full retail for a diamond-encrusted watch will almost certainly take a severe loss the moment they try to recoup that money. First, there is the issue of the diamonds themselves. A watchmaker or jeweler who purchases a diamond watch on the secondary market is not buying it as a unified luxury object the way the original buyer did. They are buying components. The case, the movement, and the stones are evaluated separately, and because the stones are commercial-grade melee, their bulk value is low. A watch that retailed for $80,000 might contain diamonds whose raw market value totals $4,000 or $5,000. The labor of setting them is not recoverable. The luxury markup, what the buyer paid for the brand story, the boutique experience, the emotional resonance of owning something that looked extraordinary in the display case has no value on the secondary market whatsoever. Second, diamond watches have an extremely narrow buyer pool. The person who wants a specific diamond set version of a specific reference from a specific brand is genuinely rare. And in the resale market, that buyer has enormous negotiating power because the seller's alternatives are limited. Auction houses that might otherwise help realize value for a rare timepiece often struggle with heavily diamond set pieces because the potential buyers are sophisticated enough to understand the asset's true composition. Third, and this is something the industry almost never discusses openly, many brands that offer diamond set watches are not the same brands that command strong resale premiums in the first place. The Rolex, Daytonas, and Patek Philippes of the world do hold value and sometimes appreciate, but the brands most aggressively marketing diamond-encrusted watches are frequently second-tier manufacturers who recognize that diamonds provide a shortcut to the appearance of luxury without requiring decades of horological credibility. Strip away the stones, and you often have a movement that would not command a premium on its own merits. Follow the money in the diamond watch transaction, and the picture becomes very clear. The brand benefits enormously. The markup on diamond set pieces is extraordinary margins that would be considered obscene in almost any other industry are standard practice here. The retailer benefits. The diamonds were sourced wholesale, set by skilled but relatively low-cost labor, often in Asia, despite the European branding, and sold at a price that reflects fantasy rather than cost of production. The diamond dealer who sold the stones to the watchmaker benefits. They offloaded commercial-grade inventory at a price elevated by the watch industry's willingness to pay a premium for the association with luxury watchmaking. The marketing agency benefits. The influencer or celebrity ambassador who appeared in the campaign wearing the piece benefits. Everyone in the supply chain extracted value before the watch reached your wrist. And then it reaches your wrist, and the extraction stops. You are now the terminal point of a very long and very profitable chain. You own the story. You own the perception. You own something that signals wealth to people who do not know how asset valuation actually works. And if you ever need liquidity, you will discover very quickly that the story has no resale value. None of this happens by accident. The diamond watch market is so effective precisely because it exploits several deeply human psychological tendencies simultaneously, and the people who design these marketing campaigns understand exactly what they are doing. There is the appeal to social signaling. Humans are extraordinarily attuned to status, and visible, dramatic displays of material wealth communicate social position in a way that is fast and legible to almost everyone. A diamond watch communicates, "I have resources," more loudly and immediately than almost any other wearable object. That communication has real social value for some people, and the luxury industry has built an entire ecosystem around monetizing it. There is the appeal to expertise and mystique. The language surrounding diamond watches is deliberately technical and intimidating. Carat weights, setting styles, grading terminology, brand, heritage, all of it creates a fog of apparent complexity that makes the buyer feel they are navigating a sophisticated domain that requires specialist knowledge to appreciate. That feeling of having accessed exclusive expertise is itself something people are willing to pay for. There's the appeal to investment framing. This is not a purchase, it is an investment. It is one of the most dangerous sentences in luxury retail, and it gets deployed constantly in the watch and jewelry space. As we have already established, This framing is almost never accurate for diamond watches. But the emotional comfort of believing you are being financially prudent, of telling yourself that this extravagance is actually smart, is powerful enough that many buyers accept the framing without interrogating it. And there is the appeal to permanence. The diamond is forever. The watch is an heirloom. You are not buying a depreciating asset. You are preserving value across generations. This is the most insidious framing of all, because it transforms a purchase that should be understood as consumption into something that feels like stewardship. It lets the buyer feel not just wealthy, but responsible and legacy-minded. It is extraordinarily effective and almost entirely untrue. Fairness requires acknowledging that not every diamond watch is the same kind of trap, and not every buyer is being taken advantage of in the same way. There is a small category of ultra-high-end haute joaillerie watches pieces from Cartier's most exclusive ateliers, Van Cleef and Arpels. Certain pieces from Chanel's Atelier d'Art, where the craftsmanship of the diamond setting is genuinely extraordinary. These are not watches encrusted with commercial melee. These are pieces where master setters have spent hundreds of hours creating genuinely artistic work. The stones are selected at the highest quality levels. The pieces are produced in genuine limited quantities and exist at the intersection of watchmaking and fine jewelry in a way that creates legitimate collector interest. These pieces can and do hold value, though even here the buyer must be sophisticated about exactly what they are purchasing. There is also the category of the iconic diamond reference, a vintage Rolex day-date set with a manufacturer original diamond dial. For example, where the combination of brand strength, horological significance, and rarity of the specific configuration creates genuine collector demand. But these pieces are notable precisely because they are exceptions. They work in the secondary market despite the diamonds, not because of them. For the vast majority of the market, the mid-range and upper mid-range diamond watches that fill the display cases of airport boutiques and department stores, the economics remain deeply unfavorable for the buyer. So where does this leave you? If you love the aesthetic of a diamond watch, if the sparkle and extravagance genuinely brings you joy, and if you are purchasing it as a luxury experience with no expectation of financial return, that is a completely legitimate choice. Luxury goods do not have to be investments to be worth buying. The experience of wearing something beautiful and rare feeling has genuine personal value, and there is nothing wrong with paying for experiences. But go in with your eyes open. Know that you are buying theater, not treasure. Know that the diamonds are not what the salesperson implies they are. Know that the resale market will not be kind to you. And most importantly, do not let anyone frame a diamond watch as a financially prudent decision, because that framing is part of the product being sold to you, and it is the most dishonest part of the transaction. The biggest scam in luxury is not that diamond watches are ugly, or that the craftsmanship is bad, or that people who wear them lack taste. The biggest scam is the story. It is the story that says these objects are rare, that they hold value, that they represent a smart allocation of resources, that they will outlast you and enrich your heirs. That story is a masterpiece of marketing. It is also almost entirely fiction. And now you know. Comment down below what you think. Make sure to like and subscribe.